Hello everybody and welcome to Reed's Read Spider-Man Crawl Space Edition. I'm your host Ryan Reed. Check us out at the SpidermanCrawlspace.com. Well, I'm back here to talk about the parts 3 and 4 of Sins Rising here by Nick Spencer and of course Resident Fiera, artist extraordinaire for it. So let's get into the pros. So first of all, I really like what Nick Spencer is doing. He's been kind of giving this approach with the Sin Eater storyline as kind of a graphic novel. Seeing how the Sin Eater's coming in, his new abilities to cleanse the bad guys but also steal their powers is actually a very cool little add-on, and the fact of how dark it is. Actually, one of the best parts about issue 46 is, of course, when he goes over and actually freezes Spider-Man using the Gray Gargoyle's powers to make him watch and tell him how he's doing this and that how he's here to help the bad guys. And what's really interesting is Spencer really gets into the characters of David Cannon, John Cilla, and of course Count Neferi about who they were without their powers. Something many people really never went to the original days of the characters when they debuted back in the 60s was they were very average people that had come actually from humble beginnings. And when you remove the evil and the thirst for power as the Living Laser, Whirlwind, and of course Count Neferi are, what's left? And I really liked how Spencer's got into what makes them tick as human beings without powers, and them actually being very ashamed of the people they were. And also it's very interesting how Fiera gives this more, American horror story aspect, not only Ravencross, but also the pieces of all the villains. I also like what he's done with Carly Cooper here, kind of making her the sounding board. It's really a major transformation from what she has been under previous writers, and giving a better kind of connection to not only her past, but also her own family issues. And actually that leads into a great little part in issue 47 when she talks about the corrupt police, her own father, how Overdrive ends up getting punished for killing a cop, and he's actually beaten by corrupt cops who, of course, take the law into their own hands, but also saying how this is a movement and how people are actually allowing the Sin Eater and following him because of what he has to take. Also, there's some great bait and switches between issues 46 and 47 with Nora Winters, with actually being revealed that she is not killed in the Betty Brant, Jean DeWolf cliffhanger from the original Sin Eater storyline, but actually attacks Sin Eater, and him telling Nora, you are full of a lot of sins, but you can deliver my message. And he really plays into the character of Nora Winters, how J. Jonah Jameson says she's become such a kind of more corrupt person. And it's very interesting counterbalance of how he gets into the supporting cast with J. Jonah Jameson, the main character with Spider-Man, and that about how they've changed and what the Sin Eater's purpose does. So let's face it, about 30 years ago when that storyline was happening, culture is a different area. In a more wake society, people like the Sin Eater are more accepted for their harsh realities and punishing. That's really great. However, that also leads kind of to the cons. There's some things that are kind of over aspect. I do feel like, as the talk goes on with Jameson and Nora Winters over the Sin Eater's message, but also the fact that the Sin Eater is taking the powers is kind of becoming this one-man kind of almost super adaptoid against Spider-Man, it kind of puts him at a disadvantage. It doesn't take away who the Sin Eater is, but at the same time you're really overpowering this guy and giving it to where Spider-Man really can't find it. Now making it a movement and having the fact that they're targeting all the way towards Norman Osborn is a very interesting aspect, because it feels like it's swirling around the Kindred storyline, but at the same time we're kind of wondering what is the actual purpose. Has Sin Eater been brought back by Kindred to actually punish Spider-Man as he tells him in their confrontation? Or is the Sin Eater kind of branched off into his own locale of what he could have been if he would have been able to do this in past storylines? So it's kind of an interesting balance. It's a very dark and amazing tale that both Spencer and Fiera kind of weave in here with Sin's writing, which is really great. It gives a very dark noir and a very good graphic novel, kind of criminal American horror story. So I'm actually giving the story a solid A. Both issues 47 and 46, or should I say 46 and 47, or Amazing Spider-Man 848, and of course 847. I know I'm talking backwards. I'm really doing some crazy reads in this time and pace. See what happens when you don't put things in sequence, guys, and you don't script? This is what you get. But anyway, I'm going to give the stories a solid A. But you know what? Like many other people, I would like to know where Mary Jane is, especially since her series has been kind of unofficially canceled. And also, really, as we get more and more towards Norman Osborn kind of being in the forefront for 850 for the Return of the Green Goblin, what is Kindred trying to do? And even more, Norman kind of knows who supposedly Kindred is, so is that going to all play into it? I guess we'll find out when Last Ride's kicked off. But otherwise, fantastic storyline, solid A. And on that note, if you would like to see more reviews and more Spider-Man action and amazing podcasts and news, please check us out at the SpidermanCrawlspace.com. And you also can check us on social media and Instagram and, of course, Twitter. And on that note, guys, I will see everybody later.